We are in the middle of a massive summer blockbuster season, but what are the biggest summer blockbusters of all time? Let's break them down in this episode, including talking about the very first summer blockbuster ever created.
It's amazing to see how many older films have grossed unbelievable sums when you adjust for inflation. So we put together a list of the most successful summer movie releases of all time and adjusted all of their box office receipts for inflation. So it's all going to be 2025 numbers. And when you put these films together, you're going to be absolutely shocked when you see the kinds of films that have grossed, adjusted for inflation, they grossed over $1 billion and even over $2 billion in 2025 dollars. It's absolutely mind-blowing. There's a Sylvester Stallone movie on this list.
A Sylvester Stallone movie? What?
That is one of the most successful summer releases all time, adjusted for inflation. There's also an unbelievably successful Best Picture winner. I'm shocked, and it's really surprising to see like how many tickets. This is a testament of like how many tickets were sold when a movie came out in the 70s or in the 80s or in the 90s. And so I can't wait to get into this list and reveal all these amazing things. We've had a great summer so far. So many amazing releases in 2025. Let us know what your favorite release of 2025 has been so far this year. We still have some more coming this way. This is not just the list of the most successful movies ever. This is just the most successful summer movie releases. The summer blockbusters started from Steven Spielberg's Jaws, which changed the way studios thought of how to release films. Jaws was originally going to be a December release. December was where the big movies were put for huge releases. French Connection, Exorcist, so many other huge successful movies. Those movies made over $400 million in those dollars. Those were December releases, winter releases, because people had time off work and people flocked to the movie theater. Now, Jaws changed everything. Jaws came out, then George Lucas's Star Wars: A New Hope the next year. And this solidified the status of summer is where we release our big movies to get more butts in seats. And it changed the way movie releases were thought about forever. And now we have the summer blockbuster season upon us. Now let's get into this list, James. Brought to you by our amazing friends at movieposters.com. Always use our promo code Raiders10 at movieposters.com to get 10% off your orders, and use the affiliate link in the description of this episode, as well as our social media bios. That'll always give us a little cut of the action. Movieposters.com, the best selection of posters on the internet. Always use that promo code Raiders10 to get 10% off your order. James, take it away with number one.
Of course. And again, this is summer blockbusters, movies released in the summertime, adjusted for inflation, how big their hit was. So you won't see any Avatar movies on this list because they always come out in December.
Yes, good point.
James Cameron's never released an Avatar movie during the summertime. So
he never will.
So we're talking about summer blockbusters, and the biggest of all time from 1977, Star Wars, as it was originally called. Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. 1977, this grossed $775 million at the global box office in 1977. Well, you might say to yourself, oh, it's a lot of money.
That's
but I mean, Barbie got 1.6. However, adjusted for inflation, Star Wars in today's dollars made $3.56 billion at the box office. Can you imagine $3.56 billion?
That's insane.
And we're talking about, movies like Endgame pulling close to that, 2.5, or Avatar when those movies come out. And you just think about the culture around everyone going to see this movie over and over again. Mm-hmm. Star Wars. Also, fewer movie theaters, by the way.
Yes.
Way fewer movie theaters. And also cheaper tickets sales for sure. So you have to sell way more tickets to just get to that number versus today. Tickets are $20 sometimes in some movie theaters.
28.
Some theaters are charging quite a lot of money. So fewer costs for ticket sales, as well as fewer movie theaters, and it's still grossed, adjusted for inflation, $3.5 billion.
Yeah, right now there are about 5,000 theaters in North America, and many more across the globe. And China is the biggest market, growing and building theaters. But back then, maybe 1,000 theaters, if that. And then ticket sales, like you said, being so much cheaper. And on top of that, a movie theater had less screens. So less like people can sit in that theater for that screening. So theaters generally had 1 or 2 screens. They were the big cinemas. But now you go to AMC and there's 24 different screens inside that interior. So it's an unbelievable achievement. And this really means, like, the number of tickets sold for Star Wars: A New Hope is absolutely insane. Astronomical. Now let's get into the second biggest gross of all time. Avengers Endgame in 2019. One of the most recent movies at the top of this list.
I was wrong. It did break $3 billion.
Yeah. You were close. So Avengers Endgame, when it came out, grossed $2.8 billion. And just to see how bad inflation is, only 5 years later, only 6 years later, adjusted for inflation, it's now $3.2 billion for its earning. So the adjustment for inflation added $400 million to Endgame's box office receipts. This was a landmark of 2019. Everybody saw this movie. Everybody was talking about it. We all wanted to know how the story concluded. And the Russo brothers and the Marvel team did an amazing job wrapping up the 10 years of storytelling in an amazing way. And everybody's always trying to get back to that high. But, we don't have to rush things. Let them get back on their feet with their footing. We'll see how Avengers Doomsday comes out. But I think Endgame was a really special theater experience because it showed the communal aspect of everybody experiencing a big story at the same time. And it's a magical time in the world when everybody's going to see one movie in particular. It's really great.
Yeah, and, this is a culmination of 10 years of film and characters that people grew to love. And the end of Tony Stark as we knew it. It was a really exciting moment. The trailer was just bombastic. It was epic. This film experience was so fun. I remember vividly going with a group of friends and we were all just losing our minds. I went with friends who some aren't even movie people and they were locked in and they were locked into this franchise. Everyone was into the MCU. If you people who went to the movies 5 times a year were so into the MCU. And I think there's something special about what they were able to capture back then. Will they ever get there? I doubt it. The excitement, the fever. Of course, the Doomsday movies and Secret Wars will make a ton of money, but I don't think they'll ever get back to, in their heyday, the MCU had the world by the balls. They had the world by the balls.
Yeah, I mean, do you think another Avengers or Marvel movie could ever make over $3 billion?
I just said no.
Okay.
I just said no.
I mean, I meant specifically $3 billion is what I meant.
Another event. No, I just said, I don't think that Secret Wars or Doomsday will ever get there.
Yeah.
I don't think he was listening to me, guys.
We'll see.
Check the tapes. I definitely don't think you were listening to me, Anthony. But huge film. I'm just busting your balls.
Next up, Steven Spielberg. He's going to be on this list.
A couple times.
Quite a few times. But you might be surprised what Spielberg's most successful movie of all time is when you adjust for inflation. So in 1982, a little movie called E.T. came out and took the world by storm, grossing $796 million. Adjust that for inflation. E.T. earned, in 1982, $2.9 billion. Absolutely insane. That is just astronomical numbers. So impressive. Another thing we haven't touched on is the fact that some of these releases, especially the older ones, this is just domestic numbers.
These are just domestic?
There's some of them.
Did you specify that at all?
I did not specify.
So you gathered this data?
Yes.
Unfinished, Anthony.
Yeah.
We're all disappointed in you.
So there's a couple movies, I'll point them out, that weren't released internationally. E.T. had a small international release and ended up grossing a ton, but mostly domestic numbers here, especially with Star Wars, the first film, mostly domestic. So that's an even more impressive thing. Everybody in America saw these fucking movies. And to think that E.T., if E.T. came out today, might make, just think about it. If E.T. came out today, might make a few $100 million. It's not going to be gigantic success. Imagine making a movie, an original sci-fi idea. It makes $3 billion right now.
That's absolutely absurd.
It's crazy.
That's absolutely absurd.
It's crazy.
So the Star Wars, that is the glal number.
Yeah. I didn't say Star Wars. I'm saying some of them that will appear on this list.
Copy that.
I don't think James was listening to me.
No, I was. Got me.
Gotcha.
I was just trying to fact check.
I said not Star Wars.
Wow, you were doing this. Well, Spielberg, he's going to be all over this list, man. This is going to be epic. It's like a Spielberg episode, basically, and George Lucas. Let's talk about the next on our list, number 4, Jurassic Park. What movie? The movie that made him a billionaire? 1993. $1.1 billion at the box office.
Wow.
At the time it was released. Right now, that is equal to $2.5 billion from 1993. It's almost more than doubled in inflation. That's absolutely absurd. This movie didn't come out that long ago, but it's...
Yeah.
And Jurassic Park's footprint on entertainment is still ongoing We get Jurassic World movies now, which has basically been the rebrand, but this is one of the most exciting movies I'd ever seen in my entire life as a kid growing up. We were obsessed with Jurassic Park. I wish it was still called Jurassic Park, or I wish they would go back to it, but it is what it is. They want to increase the scope, so you have Jurassic World. But this movie was a game changer, not just for film and entertainment, but in theme parks too. You know, we have a huge movie being turned into a major attraction at theme parks around the world. And it's really exciting. And Spielberg became Universal's guy when it comes to theme parks because he has Jurassic Park and Jurassic World is still there. The Jaws exhibit is still there, which is part of the studio tour at Universal. So it's really fun to see the studios take his worlds that he's directed and made with film and then put them into reality for people to experience.
It's also worth noting that, so Star Wars and Jurassic Park, none of the new films or sequels have ever been able to match the return of those two films. Still,
Adjusted for inflation, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you adjust for inflation, both the original Star Wars and the original Jurassic Park, like, they are still Goliaths in terms of grosses compared to the other releases. Even the new films. It's unbelievable to how successful these films were.
And also, what was the budget on Jurassic Park? $63 million budget.
That's
so probably like 120 today $million.
Yeah.
Not that big of a budget compared to the Jurassic World budgets right now, which are probably $400 million, or if not more.
Yeah, the new one.
The new one's
Yeah.
the most expensive movie ever made.
Yeah.
So they're almost 4 times as expensive, and they don't really come close when you look at the adjusted for inflation to the box office. Really, they're coming at like 50% of it.
I will defend them a little bit where just things in general cost more money.
True.
So movies cost more to make than you. It's kind of unfair to compare smaller teams, smaller crews, and also materials, things, logistics. They cost less back then compared to now. So you can think about it that way.
Yeah, I totally agree. But also,
And way more CGI now.
A lot of CGI, a lot of visual effects.
Yeah, huge numbers of people working
That
on
stuff
it.
costs money.
All right, we're back to a fairly recent release with the next massive summer blockbuster, the hotly anticipated huge hit Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which came out 10 years ago. My God, 2015. J.J. Abrams brought the world back to the Star Wars universe with a huge gross of $2.07 billion at the box office. A huge hit. None of the other films have been able to match that since its release. If you adjust that for inflation, though, just 10 years difference. Its box office run actually was $2.5 billion in 2025 dollars.
I'll never buy a house. I'll never be able to buy a house.
10 years.
10 years.
Added $500 million, man. Imagine that. 10
It's
years.
kind of scary to look at it like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty rapid.
Inflation, it was like a slow incline, and then it was just a fucking roller coaster.
This is wild. So we have Star Wars, Spielberg, and Avengers right now. That's what we got with our top 6.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Well, the top 6, moving on to the next one, we have the original summer blockbuster from 1971, Jaws, which took the world by storm. $470 million when it got released in theaters. Adjusted for inflation today, $2.4 billion. So everyone and their fucking mother saw this movie on a pretty low budget. What was the Jaws budget? I'm curious.
I gotta say 15 to 20 mil tops.
It couldn't have been that much money. It couldn't have been. $9 million budget.
Wow.
Adjusted for inflation.
It would have been less if they filmed it in time because they spent 6 months making it.
100 days over.
Yeah.
So it would have cost about $40 million today. That's absolutely absurd.
Wow, you spend money, you spend $40 million and you make $2.4 billion?
That's insane.
And on top of that, like, you're not like running social media ads, and it's like, how do you, this is all word of mouth and like paper ads, billboards, posters, newspaper ads, and that's astronomical. And I think we were talking about, you said that you researched something and you discovered that, you know, the press and the critics didn't like Spielberg for years. And I do think it's due to his astronomical success to have Jaws, his third film, his second theatrically released, I believe, but he's so young, and to make that much money and have that many people see it and to just be the talk of the entire country, I think it's just like he was a rocket ship of success, and maybe they were deterred by that and didn't want to. I don't know. Maybe it's because of how successful he was.
I think people are just jealous.
Because you can't deny it's one of the best movies ever.
100% is.
Yeah.
I think it's just people are jealous of success. They hate us because they ain't us. And we don't understand that perspective because we've only grown up in a world where everyone loves Steven Spielberg. But there was several decades where critics despised Spielberg. Not all of them, but
He
a
was
lot of
snubbed.
them, a lot of critics came after him.
Yeah.
He was snubbed from Oscars for so many times.
Yeah, he was
Like,
snubbed.
And Jaws is an absolutely massive accomplishment. One of the biggest accomplishments probably in American film history, you have to argue. And its footprint still lives on. I mean, we were just at Universal and Jaws is all over the fucking place.
And Jaws was one of those domestic releases.
Yeah, and
Domestic
okay,
numbers.
that's crazy.
Domestic.
So I hope that Jaws never gets remade. I'm sure at some point they're going to try.
Go ahead and make sequels. Just don't do the original. The
But I
sequels have
think
happened.
once Spielberg's gone, hopefully he lives forever, but once Spielberg's gone, I think Universal is going to sink their teeth into a reboot of Jaws right away.
You think Back to the Future too?
Back to the Future once Zemeckis is gone as well.
Damn it.
So I think that those things are going to happen. At some point, you know they've been trying to make a Jaws remake for years probably, but you'll never be able to capture what they did with the original.
Yeah, he's probably always shot it down.
I'm sure he
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
No freaking way he'd want that to happen.
Fuck that shit. Fuck it. All right, let's get back to superheroes. We went from Killer Shark to superheroes. Infinity War came out in 2018 and grossed a massive $2 billion at the box office. Huge success. Everybody was. I think this is the best of the Avengers movies. This is the best Avenger movie. But it was a great penultimate episode, and it got everybody fucking juiced for Endgame. Adjust for inflation, though, $2 billion ends up being $2.3 billion, so still even more successful than before.
It's interesting that there's an $800 million difference in ticket sales in box office numbers for Infinity War versus Endgame. Endgame made $800 million more.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's because more people were ready to watch the finale. Maybe they rented the Infinity War if they didn't see it in theaters. But also, I think a large portion, that's probably people seeing it twice or three times.
I think so, too. And there's a different aspect of this is the conclusion. And so there's more urgency for people to see it.
But it was not the conclusion,
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
found out
Yeah.
very soon.
But you know what I mean? It was like the end of the era. And so I think that built into like, okay, it's the end of this decade. Everybody's going to see this to see how it ends.
I think that's their biggest problem. MCU's biggest problem. They don't have stakes anymore. What are the stakes in the MCU? Maybe we'll find out with Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four when those movies come out.
Yeah.
I'm sure those will set up the stakes for Doomsday and setting up Doctor Doom. But it might be too quick of a rush because they set up the stakes of Thanos for years and years and years. It seemed like my entire life they've been setting that movie up. And so some people's entire lives they're setting that movie up.
Also, not just stakes, but just make good movies.
True, yeah.
At the end of the day.
But I mean, why should people? I'm talking about the people who aren't cinephiles who go to the theaters a lot. They still cared,
yeah.
and they still understood that a lot is on the line here.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Endgame outperformed Infinity War
By a
resales
long shot.
and people seeing it multiple times.
That's a great point. By a long shot, $800 million more than Infinity War.
they're almost, they're almost not in the same category.
Yeah. Damn.
All right. Let's talk about our first animated film on this list. And yes, there is an animated feature film for one of the biggest summer blockbusters of all time from 1994. The great, the iconic, The Lion King grossed $977 million, adjusted for inflation, just over $2 billion at $2.09 billion at the box office. Absurd numbers for an animated film, but this was special. This was a special movie. This was a family affair, and people were going to see this movie over and over again, and everyone took their kids to see this. We saw this movie in theaters when we were kids, and it was just so exciting. It was electric. I have very tiny memories of it. Almost
Itty bitty
gone.
memories?
Sparse memories, but man, what an experience.
And if you think about it, Inside Out 2, Super Mario, they haven't even come close to the $2.09 billion. The only movie that's surpassed it is Ninja 2. That just came out.
What did Inside Out do? Didn't that do 1.6?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did very well, but it didn't hit $2 billion.
Yeah,
Ninja is the only one that's surpassed it.
that's insane.
Yeah, $2 billion for an animated movie. That's crazy.
It's special, man.
And I'm so glad because they made a sequel, but it was a DVD release, VHS release. So I'm just glad they never made a sequel in theaters.
I forget
Until-
what it was. What was it? Simba
until-
Simba opened up a surf shop or something? What was it? Simba surfs.
I say that literally the year after they released a Lion King sequel. Live action quotation marks. Live action animated.
Prequel, sequel,
Yes.
reboot, legacy film.
There's a lot of adjectives in that for what that movie is.
It's never gonna end.
To describe it.
I wonder what they're. They're trying to figure out a new one.
Timon and Pumbaa origins.
Because Mufasa's box office wasn't as impressive as the other ones.
$700-800 million.
Let's see. Mufasa pulled $722 million at the global box office. And
the first Lion King made like 1.5. It was a massive hit.
It was absurd.
Yeah, massive hit.
But the Mufasa budget was over $200 million, so that was not a very big hit for them because then at the end of the day, they probably barely profited off the Mufasa film.
Huge marketing campaign, so you can imagine they didn't make too much money off of it.
Yeah, if not. So I mean, $200 million, you need to pull at least $600-700 million. So yeah, they probably turned a little bit of a profit.
You know who made money though?
Who did?
Lucasfilm. Once again,
Printed money.
In 1999. Yeah, they were printing money. After the long wait between Star Wars sagas, we finally got Star Wars: The Phantom Menace in 1999. This film took the world by storm, grossing $1 billion in 1999. When you adjust that for inflation, this made $2 billion. Huge hit. Everybody saw this movie. I don't think everybody walked away happy, but, you know, I liked it a lot as a kid. It was great. It was super fun.
Phantom Menace was epic, man. This was the juice when we were kids.
Oh, yeah, we loved it, but older people didn't like it.
Fire.
Older people didn't like it.
You posted in the story recently a great clip of the Obi-Wan versus Maul fight. It was so funny. It was a great mashup with something else, and it cracked me up. It was perfect. But, man, this movie was amazing. I loved it so much when we were kids. And Star Wars, man, this is what made Star Wars so cool again, was, I think, Phantom Menace, then Revenge of the Sith, obviously.
Got the youth again.
Yeah, it got the kids. It got a new generation excited. I don't know if the new Star Wars franchise did that because it's mostly just older people, millennials, that are still really into Star Wars. I feel like the younger kids aren't as enamored by it when we were, if that's
I don't think so. I agree. I don't think they are.
But I think that this one was really special, and it was so exciting to see it back in theaters. You know, it'd been out for over a decade, and to see what George Lucas was cooking up with this prequel trilogy was really exciting. And to go back to the story post you shared, it was really funny. But did you see the one that I shared a few days ago of John David Washington and Malcolm Washington inside the Criterion Closet, where it starts with Malcolm Washington pulls out two films, and he's talking about French New Wave and discourse in filmmakers, this really articulate explanation. And then John David comes up from behind him. He's like, Jackie Chan box set, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, Anthony versus James.
That was great. That was really funny. That was really funny. That was great.
Some people were like, I was about to send you guys and say the exact same thing.
I got a bunch of DMs about it. I got a ton.
Jackie Chan box set.
No, I'm saying. That's
great.
Hell. I do love Jackie Chan, though.
Let's get back to dinosaurs. Jurassic World. It's like Star Wars, dinosaurs, and MCU. Jurassic World 2015, $1.6 million at the box office, adjusted for inflation. That's a $2 billion haul 10 years later.
Big hit. Big hit.
Today's money.
It rejuvenated the franchise.
Do you think that the new Jurassic World film will break $1 billion? We've been in this kind of this weird limbo where movies you expect to make $1 billion aren't quite hitting it because their previous original films have. But, like, for example, Mufasa doesn't really come close to $1 billion, where Lion King's normally guaranteed like $1.5 billion. Jurassic World, all of the new ones have been making over $1 billion, but do you think the last one was too much of a sour taste left in people's mouths, as well as people maybe sick of another reboot, legacy, sequel, origin story movie film starring new people doing the same thing? Do you think people are sick of that? Do you think it'll make $1 billion?
I think it could make $1 billion. There is a lot of competition in the summer. So that's the one drawback. There is a ton of stiff competition for Jurassic World Rebirth to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
But it could. I think it could. I think if it came out 2 years ago or last year, it could have easily made $1 billion. But there are a lot of big releases this year. And so it's going to be a lot of films competing against each other for many weeks at a time, for many weeks on end. But I think it could hit $1 billion. And from what I've seen, people are overall enthusiastic and positive about what they put out so far. So, and it seems to be a film that's really in tone with the originals as opposed to just trying to do completely different things. So I think it has a lot of potential, and people love the franchise. Even when they make a bad movie, it makes a lot of money. So it has that going for it. It has an amazing track record in terms of box office performance. They've never made a film that didn't make a ton of money.
True. I think that it has a problem with competition because it comes out July 3rd. A week later, Superman comes out in theaters.
Yeah.
And Superman, that's going to make $1 billion.
And then Fantastic Four
in August,
2 weeks later.
August 8th.
August 8th?
I believe it's Fantastic Four. So it's not that far away. So, you know, we have huge movies that are going to be in theaters. Jurassic World, it'll have screens to itself basically for like a week.
Yeah.
But then it's fucked. I still think it'll clear $1 billion. And I think it has potential to be the biggest movie of the year, box office wise.
Yeah.
But it is going to have stiff competition with Superman coming out a week later.
The way the studios are probably adjusting is maybe the international releases, like since they have competition with Superman right away, maybe Jurassic World is getting an earlier release internationally. That's possibly a way to offset, you know, Superman eating into your box office domestically. So I'm sure with the release dates around the world are going to be a little bit different, just because it's a very crowded summer. It's a very crowded summer. I don't think there's going to be a movie that makes like $2 billion or 1.5 billion until Avatar comes out. But that's not a bad thing because I think overall everyone's going to be making a ton of cash. You know what I mean? Like everybody, it's going to be spread out. It's going to be pretty well balanced. I don't see one movie really taking over until James Cameron in the winter, in December. But I expect all these films to do very well. So I think it's just going to be great for the industry overall.
Yeah, it does have a long runtime. It's 2 hours and 14 minutes. So it's kind of a long Jurassic World movie, one of the longest. And that will definitely affect its box office for sure. So it'll have fewer screens. So we'll see.
But I mean, Mission Impossible is almost 3 hours. So they're really limiting their number of screens.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, it's not long enough.
I'll take Tom over dinosaurs.
Oh,
I
me
love
too.
dinosaurs any day.
Absolutely.
But Dominion was actually the longest Jurassic World movie. It was 2 hours and 27 minutes, and it still pulled, I think, $1.5 billion at the box office. I don't know how.
All that locust.
I don't know how.
That's what I'm saying. Even when they make a bad one, it makes money. You know what I mean? People like dinosaurs.
They do. So I think that this one's going to be exciting. It's going to be a crowded summer, but it's going to be really exciting, and I cannot freaking wait. I mean, 2026 is going to be bonkers, too.
Yeah.
July 2026, don't make any plans, guys. Do not make any vacation plans. Don't go anywhere.
And it's been a very healthy summer so far. May and June up to this point, July and August. There's so much potential for this to be possibly the biggest bounce back year since COVID. So fingers crossed that it holds on to steam and keeps chugging along.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
I mean, we got some big hitters.
Remember theaters were dead 8 months ago?
Last spring, movie theaters are dead.
Yeah.
Anthony and I, chill out, guys.
Pump the brakes. We're fine.
Let's relax.
We're doing okay. We're not doing great.
What
but
was
we're
that
doing
big
good.
summer hit last year that came out and it just rejuvenated everything like in a week?
It was 2 movies bombed in the spring, and then something came out in April.
Inside Out 2 was like the
savior of
theaters last year.
But something came out in April, and it made a ton of money, I believe, is what happened.
Can't remember.
I'll look into it during the intermission.
Look into it, bro.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to Star Wars. 1980s Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. $550 million, adjusted for inflation. That's $1.96 billion today. Massive, enormous hits. Can you imagine being really an unknown filmmaker with George Lucas for, household name recognition, and then you make Star Wars, and then you make Empire Strikes Back, even though he's not the credited director on the film.
Yeah.
But still, he makes Empire Strikes Back. He's probably the most famous director on the planet Earth now. And it's just absolutely insane how much of a life-changing moment that probably was those few years.
It's amazing, and he changed the world. To make your two movies making almost $5 billion. That's insane. Wait, no, if you put them both together, it's over $5 billion. Yeah. 2 movies together, they earned $5.5 billion. That's insane. That's insane. Unbelievable. I can't believe it. Great stuff.
I can, because...
And also, it's just one of the best science fiction films ever.
It's pretty awesome.
It's undeniable. It's undeniable.
The best Star Wars movie, too.
Yeah, it's number 1. Numero uno. Next up. In 2012, something happened that nobody thought possible. All these superheroes that had their own films, their own franchises, teaming up. Leading up to Avengers in 2012, everybody was like, there's no way it's going to work.
Everyone was skeptical, I
They're
remember.
like, there's too many characters. What do you mean? There's 7 characters. What? It's like there's not gonna be able to do it.
That's a light character count nowadays.
Nowadays, it's like having 64 characters is like no problem.
No, it is a problem.
But they proved everyone wrong. Marvel came out with the Avengers. They came in hot. Huge hit. It was, at the time, the highest opening weekend ever. Made, I believe, $235 million opening weekend, if I'm correct. And that had blown the Dark Knight out of the water, which was the previous record holder for opening weekend domestically, which made 142. But I think Avengers made $202 million. I think that's how much it made domestically. And since then, like, making $200 million has become kind of, expected for movies of this size nowadays. The Avengers in 2012 grossed $1.5 billion. Adjust that for inflation, and it's an astounding $1.9 billion and showed and solidified the strength of the Marvel brand. And you know what? After that, Disney was like, you guys want to buy Marvel? Let's buy Marvel. And then they were just off and running for the next several years. For the next 7 years, they were just putting out heat most of the time.
So domestic opening weekend of the Avengers, $207 million.
Wow.
Globally, $392 million.
Which is like nothing now after Endgame.
Which was crazy. And it wasn't one of the 5-day weekend hauls. It wasn't a holiday. It was May 4th to May 6th weekend across 4,349 theaters.
Wow.
Absolutely insane. Insane run. Moving on. Oh, we're on Harry Potter.
Yeah, finally!
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, 2001. Itty bitty Anthony and James going to see this movie was super exciting. $1.02 billion at the box office, adjusted for inflation. That's $1.87 billion. And I think this was an era-defining film. The books were so popular, and word of the movie being made was very exciting around the world. And they did a great job getting people excited, and the marketing and the casting was obviously superb. But to finally see the trailer for the first time and then get hyped and see the posters, it was magical, I think, to be a kid, even an adult if you like the books, to go see Harry Potter for the first time in theaters. It was a magical moment, and there was nothing like it. These movies are so unique, and they're so incredible, and Chris Columbus did such an incredible job with the first two, creating this world. And, man, this was just a special experience, and I think that it was deservedly one of the biggest hits of all time, and when it comes to summer blockbusters, deserves this spot as well. It's just... there's nothing like it, man. Seeing Harry Potter for the first time.
Still the most successful Potter film. The most successful one, even more than the newer ones.
Oh, shit, yeah, you're right.
Still number
adjusted
one.
For inflation.
Yeah, just for inflation. And it's just like everybody was curious about seeing that world put on the screen. And it worked.
The trailers were really good,
What
too.
a trailer. Oh, my God. I remember seeing the trailer as a kid and being like, oh, I can't fucking wait for this. It's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be fucking awesome. Oh, my God.
Man, I kind of wish there was a letterbox when we were young so
Yeah.
that we could letterbox movies, because who knows what kind of shit we would have been saying, but still, it would have been fun.
But, I mean, yeah, everybody saw this. And it was really the curiosity of like, okay, everybody read the book. What's it going to look like on screen? And Columbus just really... he knocked it out of the park, man. He made a perfect adaptation. I can't think of anything that would improve that movie. I think it's just perfect.
Real magic.
Movies are real magic.
Let's do one more, and then we'll go to our intermission. How's that sound?
Oh, yeah. Dominic Toretto in the house. You didn't think he was gonna show up, did you? Vin Diesel coming in strong. The most successful Fast and the Furious movie was actually Furious 7 in 2015. $1.5 billion. An absolutely astronomical hit for the franchise. Adjusted for inflation, it earned $1.8 billion. So it almost hit $2 billion adjusted for inflation. And you can see why they just keep making them. Universal's just fucking caking off of this franchise. It has been their bread and butter, and fans love it. They make movies that are extremely successful and that the fans like. And that's a rare thing. You never see fans of the Furious franchise complaining about the Furious franchise. Is it the only franchise that the fans don't complain about? I think it is.
I think so because, I mean, from the fan perspective, yes, they don't complain about it, but everyone else does.
Yeah. Because I think they don't
They know what it is.
Yeah, they know what it is, and they aren't expecting anything other than fast cars, hot chicks, muscle-bound dudes, fights, and crazy action. And they always get that delivered to them in a nice bow. And so it's an interesting thing where it's a long-running franchise that has the fans don't hate it.
Yeah, but also I think there's a reason why there's only one Furious movie on this movie. And I think there's a reason why it's this one. It's because they filmed it and Paul Walker passed away before they finished the movie. So I think a lot of people seeing this movie over and over again, or just seeing it in general, is sort of the last time you could see Paul Walker on the big screen. So I think that was a huge event for that moment to see him as a posthumous screening for seeing this guy's at the end of his career and his life taken too short. And so it's sort of I think for a lot of people, in a way, a pilgrimage for fans of the franchise and an homage and just showing your love and respect for the character and the actor. Going to see this movie, even if you hadn't kept up with the franchise, was a big cultural moment, I think.
That's a great point. That's a really great point. I totally agree. I absolutely agree. That had something to do with its incredible run. Plus, I think it's like one of the most liked in the entire franchise, too.
I think so too.
Yeah,
it was. I remember this one was good. And then his brother played Brian in that last shot with him and Dom looking at each other.
Yeah. So, and
also the body double. So it was a.
It was a goodbye. It was a farewell.
It was sort of like a
similar to. So we were just talking about Avengers Endgame, and then also Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was like a farewell tour kind of film. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's similar things to that. They all have a similar thing that people gravitate towards.
Yeah, exactly. Something you can't market.
Yeah, can't market it.
No.
Also, I found out the April movies of last year when everyone said the box office was dying. So Argyle bombed,
and
Madam Web bombed, and everyone was like, "Theaters are dead, movies are dead,
evil dies tonight,
evil dies tonight." And then Dune Part 2 and Kung Fu Panda came out in April and blew the doors off the chain.
That's right,
and just made a shit ton of money.
Yeah,
and we were like, "See, guys, everything's fine." Kung Fu Panda destroyed, and so it was a big release at the time.
It was.
Oh my god!
Kung Fu Panda saved movie theaters.
Thanks, Kung Fu Panda.
It's funny how
Jack Black once again.
It's funny
he doesn't stop making money.
Dude, can you imagine what his royalty checks are like? Residuals are
Kung
like
Fu Panda, Super Mario, and Minecraft. Are you kidding me?
Insane residuals. Jack Black is fucking caking.
What a great guy.
All right, let's head into our intermission, everybody. And before we continue, you know the best way to support us is going to patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast and becoming a patron today of our show. You get access to our Discord. We have 5 different tiers of membership. Find out which one is best for you in your budget, as well as depending on what tier you are, you get different kinds of perks. Also, another great way to support the show, leaving those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. Subscribing on YouTube is very beneficial for us and helps us a lot with engagements. If you can comment, like, share, that helps us so much. That gets us these awesome opportunities and these really cool invites because of social media engagements. So thanks to everyone who clicks on our stuff and watches our videos. Thank you so much. Even if you don't watch the show, just share us on Instagram stories. It's a big deal. Also, share your favorite episodes with those you love. If you know someone that, needs a new podcast, they're sick of the true crime stuff, or they haven't quite found their movie show, send them our podcast. Let them get great breakdowns and analysis with ridiculously witty humor and brother-sibling fighting. As Anthony checks his watch. Are you checking your watch on me?
This has been a long.
What is this?
It's been a long ad.
Is this an Oscar speech?
It's been a long ad.
Turn the music off.
It's been a long ad.
I'm not done.
I've done this before.
I won't be forever. 8 minutes later. Just share us. Thanks.
This episode, of course, is sponsored by our amazing friends at movieposters.com, the #1 place to get your posters online today. Be sure to always use our promo code Raiders10. That will get you 10% off every order you make, as well as the affiliate link in the description of this episode. And you can find it also in our social media bios. That affiliate link gives us a little cut of the action, so you help us help you. Help us. Movieposters.com has a huge selection of pretty much every film and TV show imaginable in their poster library. All sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs, like that amazing backlit poster behind James. That thing looks unbelievably nice. It pops. It makes your home feel like its own little private movie theater. They have everything from your favorite modern blockbuster to your favorite Hollywood classic. A ton of international posters, alternate prints, really cool collaborations with artists, everything you can imagine, as well as collectible items like original movie posters of amazing classic films, lobby cards for collectors, as well as original half sheets, one sheets, everything you can think of. Being a fan of films and TV, there's no better way to express that love than decking your place out with a ton of high quality, amazing, beautiful posters. The best place to do that is movieposters.com. Use our coupon code Raiders10 to get 10% off your order and our affiliate link in the description.
It's kind of long, dude.
After yours? How dare you?
I'm sorry. I have to do 3, and you get
How
to do
dare
only
you?
1.
How dare you?
I do 3. You do 1, by the way.
How dare you?
That was
48 seconds.
18 minutes.
40
8 years
48
later.
seconds.
Let's move on to our intermission and begin with the movie quote competition. You ready?
I was born ready.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Why can't I think of this?
Ooh.
Oh, it's The Departed.
Yeah, there we go.
He can do it. All right, 2 people talking here. How's about investing in condominiums? It's safe. Condominiums? Yeah, condominiums. I never use them.
That sounds familiar, but I don't know it.
Want me to do an accent?
Sure.
How's about investing in condominiums? It's safe. Condominiums? Yeah, condominiums. I never use them.
Well, that's definitely Sylvester Stallone. It's Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky.
Never use them.
I never use them.
Take her to the zoo. Next scene, they're at the zoo.
I was thinking about buying some turtles.
All right, guess this movie release year. Synecdoche, New York.
2009.
2008.
Ah, damn. What year did Rocky 4 come out? Also known as Rocky vs. Drago.
Is it also known as that?
Yeah.
1986.
So close. Oh my God, you were so close. It's 1985.
God damn it.
You're
wow,
right
it's
there.
85, huh?
Yeah.
Big year. Big year
year.
for movies. There's a movie on our summer blockbuster list that came out in 85.
Yeah, that's right.
Also a Rocky movie. Just kidding. Maybe. All right, let's move on to movie pop quiz time. Anthony, in the film Chungking Express, what is the recurring motif involving a can of food?
The guy gets what is it? What food does he get? It's canned peaches.
No.
It's canned some kind of canned fruit.
He's so close, everybody.
Fuck,
So
it's
close.
canned.
Hands. He's just looking at his hand.
Canned something sweet, something fruity. I can't remember.
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
Canned pineapple.
God damn it.
It represents a theme and metaphor for his relationship with his girlfriend.
He's getting over his breakup. Not doing well. He's
I'm
not
like
doing well.
a can of pineapple.
He's not doing very well. All right, how many war films has Clint Eastwood directed?
Quite a few. Fuck. I'm gonna just take a stab at 9.
No.
5.
5. Can you name them?
Outlaw Josie Wales.
1,
Letters from Iwo Jima.
2. Terrible pronunciation.
Iwo Jima.
Iwo Jima. That was a shot in the dark. No, it wasn't. Letters from the
pronunciation.
Yeah, that was a complete letters from Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima.
The 1516 or 1615.
That's a terrorist movie.
I thought
On the
it
train.
took place during war, though.
Well, I guess it's not a war movie. It's
Gotcha.
it's a disaster movie. on a
True,
train.
yeah. But,
yeah.
okay. I thought it was a war-torn country. Never mind.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's not a war film.
Yeah.
It's not about war.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Come on, come on. You gotta, you know these. Come on.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
at least one more of them.
The Pacific.
No.
Is a show. It's the idea of it. Well, I'm blanking. Let's see. Clint Eastwood. He definitely did do Pearl Harbor. Just kidding.
He made a bunch of them within a.
American Sniper.
American Sniper. Want a hint?
Hold on, let me.
I can just give you a hint.
Okay, give me.
One of them is like the cousin of letters from Iwo Jima. They were back-to-back years.
The emails from Iwo Jima.
It's from the other side of the Iwo Jima's Japanese side. He made a film American side, same war.
Just give me the answers, man.
Flags of Our Fathers.
Flags of Our Fathers. That's right.
And then Heartbreak Ridge, where he's the drill instructor.
Gotcha. I got 3.
You did good. You did very good.
Anthony, what's your? Let's hear some unsubscribes and some haters. Let me pull up.
I gotta get some comedy.
I'm gonna pull up a written review.
One of my favorite things about unsubscribes is it's essentially fact checking, which is really nice. I feel like not a lot of people online fact check themselves.
Yeah,
and unsubscribes work as like our fact checking.
I never thought about it like that.
You know what I mean?
It's our Snopes.
Wait, what? Oh, Snopes is like the group that.
Sure. Snopes has kind of disappeared. Not gonna lie.
And so unsubscribes is basically how we keep ourselves in check, thanks to our fans. So that's what I love about unsubscribes. Here we go. Mason, I'm pretty sure American football is the #1 spectator sport in the USA, but I'm still unsubscribed. Don't worry. I'm still subscribed. Don't worry.
Let me double check that.
Because you said NASCAR
Yeah.
is the #1 spectator sport
Yeah. Hold on.
versus football. Well, if you think about it, I mean, think about all the football stadiums that have huge attendances every Sunday. It's millions of people will attend and watch.
No. Well, NASCAR is the most popular spectator sport in America. The most popular is American football. So spectator sport versus just popularity.
So you're saying spectator in terms of people going to NASCAR rather than overall football is the most popular sport? Is what you mean?
Viewers per event.
I'm still kind of confused about the difference. Say it again. It says that NASCAR is the #1 spectator sport, but football is the #1 sport?
Most popular sport.
Most popular sport.
Yeah, so so spectator sport, in person.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
In person, people.
Those stadiums are big.
Yeah.
They'll have like over 100,000 people there.
Jesus. Turn left again. Here they go, and they're turning left.
Yeah. Yeah, for professional sports, because if you factor in college football, then American football is unbeatable. But I think just from a professional level.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
All right, next up, Steve. When did Spotify add the ability to comment on podcasts? I was not aware of this feature, and therefore, I must unsubscribe. Hope to see you more.
They did it, I want to say, probably at the end of last year, something like that.
I'd say 6 months ago.
Last year, yeah.
Something like 6 months
It's been really
ago.
cool.
It's been.
We at first we couldn't reply at first. At first it was just you could leave a comment, and then we had to approve the comments so we could block them or let them be public. But now we can actually reply, which is cool. So leave us a comment on Spotify, everybody, on any episode.
Yeah.
We'll respond to you right away.
And like our podcast too.
Yeah.
Give us a like.
If you comment, we will comment back.
That's it for unsubscribes. We recorded yesterday, so we've got a lot out of the can.
Copy that, boss. Well, we have a 5-star written review from Scam/Victim.
Damn, sorry, pal.
On Apple Podcasts. Subject line, great guys. 5 stars. Kindest guys ever. I'm lucky enough to be able to message them with replies before they become too popular.
Aw.
Thank you, Scam/Victim.
Hopefully you've recovered from that scam.
And your victimhood.
Yeah. Now you're everything's better. I hope everything's better.
Hope everything's okay. Sorry.
What's your streaming recommendation for tonight, James?
Memories of Murder. This came out in 2003. An incredible, gripping masterpiece from Bong Joon-ho. It's on Hulu.
I also have a Hulu suggestion. Small Things Like These, the Irish film starring Cillian Murphy. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really good.
It's a movie about buttons. Small Things Like These.
Shut up. It's not about buttons.
It's not. It's a really good film.
Yeah.
Really good film.
It's about coal.
I saw it before Anthony. Pretty big deal when I see an international film before him. Just gonna say.
You did. You saw it weeks before
that
me.
Jackie Chan box set, bro. No joke. Let's get back into our episode and talk about Bruce Lee with his film Enter the Dragon in 1973.
This, I gotta say, is the biggest shock that I discovered.
Yeah, I think
making this list.
I always forget how big of a movie this is, and I think people forget how big of a cultural icon Bruce Lee was. He was the biggest star on the planet.
Yeah.
Like at that time, in like the early 1970s, it was freaking Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali. They were the guys. They were the stars of the world. And Bruce Lee was a mega star with Enter the Dragon, $400 million at the box office in 1973.
Insane.
That's $1.8 billion today.
That's crazy.
Holy fuck.
Now I know why like he was such a cultural icon. $1.8 billion? Imagine you make a kung fu movie. I keep saying this for every movie. Imagine you do this. But imagine
you make a movie.
Imagine you make a kung fu movie and it makes $1.8 billion. That's insane. That's absolutely unbelievable. I can't believe how much money this movie made. I can't believe it. It's insane.
So that means that everyone and their mother saw this movie as well. And it's also a kick-ass movie, man.
Yeah.
It's an awesome movie. And,
so much money.
You know, Bruce Lee gone way too soon.
If he was still alive, he'd still be massive. Imagine.
He probably would have been the biggest movie star of all time, arguably. He could have been up there.
If he kept making hits like that, yeah.
You know, it was the last movie he was in. He died before they filmed it. Finished it.
Crazy.
Passed away before they finished Enter the Dragon. So
$400 million.
It's just absolutely absurd.
Unreal. That's like he closed in on like it came so close to things like Jaws is gross and Star Wars is gross. It's like unbelievable how big this movie was.
He was only 32 years old when he died.
That's nuts.
32 years old, comes out with one of the biggest blockbusters in the history of cinema in 1973. Adjusted for inflation, $1.8 billion.
It made more than Barbie, guys. That's how big it was. It made more than Barbie.
Insane.
Wild.
The legacy he left behind is just timeless.
All right, now let's get into one of our favorite childhood theater watches. I clearly remember this. In 1996, Independence Day.
I did not see this coming.
$817 million in 1996. This was a huge hit. Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, dynamic duo, unbelievable visual effects. This is a fantastic movie. This is overall just a really fun sci-fi adventure film. When you adjust its gross for inflation, Independence Day made $1.8 billion. One of the biggest summer hits of all time. And then they made a fucking shitty sequel 20 years later.
I never saw it. Did you see it?
I saw some of it.
Yeah?
I turned it off.
I mean, it's not Independence Day without Will, first of all. You can replace him with other people if you want, but I mean...
All the pilots are like 15.
And what's that smell? I love Independence Day. What a trailer. This trailer is what got people to the theater.
It was the great iconography. I mean, the idea of just visually seeing the White House being blown up by an alien.
But also, do you remember the way the trailer started was with people just... the shadow coming over New York City and people just looking up into the sky, parking in their cars, and then seeing the spaceship above them.
Yeah.
That was a great trailer.
That's fantastic.
It was really exciting. And also, it was around that time when we were getting close to Y2K and the turn of the millennia. This stuff was hot, like the web taking over, are aliens real, and globalization was really booming. So I think that there's something to that as well with the culture.
Yeah. Big hit.
Another big hit from Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 2, the conclusion to the entire franchise. $1.3 billion at the box office in 2010 when this came out?
Shit, I didn't put the date. Sorry.
It's all good.
Sorry. I'm really sorry.
I believe that's 2010.
I'm really sorry about that. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Repent more. Adjusting for inflation, that's $1.7 billion, the second biggest hit in the franchise. And it seems like the concluding chapters of all these franchises are really some of the biggest hauls for the box office because none of the other ones are even on this list at the end of the day except for the first one and this one.
And it ends on a really good note. It was a good ending and satisfied fans. That's why it was so good because when people saw it the first week, they probably told everyone, "Oh, it was awesome. You got to see it."
Yeah.
So since they really pulled it off at the end, that helps.
And what was cool is the books were coming out not too far before the movies were coming out at this time.
Yeah, Deathly Hallows come out 2008.
I can't remember what year the book came out, but they were kind of going back to back, which was exciting.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that the Harry Potter TV show is about to start filming.
That's wild.
Or it's already started filming.
Yeah, that's wild.
The Harry Potter show is filming right now, which is crazy to me. And it's going to be so interesting to see what this show is like based off being different or similar to the films. I think they have to do something new. They have to shake things up, which they clearly are with some of the castings. And I hope they change up and go more in depth in the books, which they'll have the time to with 7 or 8 episodes per season. But man, that's kind of blowing my mind that I'm an old fucking man.
You're an old
We
fart.
had the whole franchise of movies. Now we have a show coming out that's filming.
Yeah, but we always have them. We'll always have the movies.
Always have them.
All right, next up, Tom Cruise. Tom's in the list.
This is the movie that saved everything, guys.
He saved the film industry with Top Gun Maverick in 2022, which grossed shocking post-COVID $1.5 billion and adjusted for inflation, $1.7 billion. And this really did keep the industry afloat because it ran for so long and allowed theaters over the course of pretty much that entire year to just keep making money from this one film. Because so many films were bombing, less releases. So many movies got pushed back because of the lockdowns and because people were wary about going to the theater again. And also, like the climate of what films were coming out had changed, and everybody just needed to see a great escapist, fun adventure film with the biggest star ever, just doing his thing. And that's exactly what Top Gun Maverick delivered. And my God, saw it 4 times. I saw it 4 times.
I think it was maybe the happiest I've ever been in a theater was just seeing this.
It was insane.
IMAX
I think
headquarters.
I was very happy.
It was very exciting.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Pope passed away recently. Pope Francis passed away. And so it made me think about celebrity because the Pope always is one of the most famous people alive, and people gather in crowds on entire streets as the Pope drives by and says hi and waves to them. And I think that Tom Cruise is the only other person that's ever existed that could pull that kind of fame. Like if Tom Cruise decided to do a parade down in like downtown LA, people would be lining up on the streets. People would be lining up to wave to him and say hi if you drove by. No one else could do that.
When he passes away, the whole world will mourn.
That's what I mean.
There will be crowds in every city mourning Tom Cruise.
He's comparable to the Pope.
That's a good point. Pope Cruise. Pope Tom.
If he drove down the street in a convertible, people would be freaking the fuck out. But like, think of someone else very famous, Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't think people would line up on sidewalks to see Leo or Brad or
I don't think so either.
LeBron. But
I think that there's a testament to how he treats his fans, which is why people want to see him, because he respects his fans and gives them his time.
True, yeah.
Whereas Leo's just like hat down,
very
just
secretive
get
guy.
away from me.
That's just fine.
Oh no, yeah,
It's
yeah.
prerogative.
He's welcome to do whatever he wants. But I think that fans love Tom Cruise because he loves his fans.
Yeah, no one else could fucking do that.
Yeah.
No one else could do a parade of them for themselves.
I think that when Tom passes away, every city center around the world will be filled with thousands of people watching his filmography on a big screen.
Biggest movie star to ever live. It's going to have a huge impact. I hope that day never comes, but
Never. He's going to be immortal. He's going to Starlink his brain. He'll just keep making movies.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's talk about a film we've brought up a couple times in this episode, Inside Out 2, last year's biggest hit, $1.69 billion. One of the biggest animated films of all time, just behind The Lion King. What an absurd performance at the box office. I did not see that coming. I don't think anybody saw this projection. Obviously, the first film is very successful, and Pixar movies generally do really well at the box office. They've had some duds over the last handful of years, but Inside Out 2 was an outlier in being the biggest hit that Pixar has ever made.
This was another 2024 release that came out in the summer that really rejuvenated the box office.
Yeah,
It was
who would have
huge.
thought Inside Out 2 saved theaters in 2024?
Next up, George Lucas returns with Return of the Jedi. 1983. A $482 million gross. Adjusted for inflation, that's $1.65 billion. It's interesting, though. Made way less than the other two. Made way less. Maybe it wasn't received as well. Maybe people weren't really drawn to the conclusion, but you would expect that the conclusion would make more than the second film, at least. But yeah, Return of the Jedi, way less than the other two. It's interesting.
That is interesting. I wonder why.
I don't know.
I don't know, but still a lot of money.
Made $100 million less.
Still an absolutely massive hit.
It made like $4 billion less.
What's interesting?
I mean, not $4 billion, $400 million adjusted for inflation.
Next up, we have a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, the second film in the franchise. Dead Man's Chest, which came out in 2006, grossed $1.06 billion at the box office. The power of Johnny Depp to get that many people in theaters to see him as Jack Sparrow. That is the reason why people went to this movie.
Yeah.
The first film was hugely successful. $654 million at the box office
No
globally.
joke. No joke.
That's not a joke for that movie that had not an enormous budget, but still a pretty high budget. But then $1.06 billion at the box office is just absurd.
It's a testament to how much people loved the first film. Everyone loved that movie. And I always thought, in my head, I was like, the first one made the most, but no, the second one made the most by far.
Yeah.
And the other ones, the rest of the films after the original trilogy, the rest of the films they do make around $600 to $700 million each.
So At World's End pulled $960 million. On Stranger Tides pulled $1.04 billion, but that came out later, so adjusted for inflation, it's not as big of a hit as Dead Man's Chest. And then we have then Dead Man Tell No Lies, which was the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie, $794 million at the box office.
Yeah. Still a lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of cheddar.
But there's definitely a decline in quality once we get to that fifth film.
Yeah. Once you lost Gore Verbinski.
Yeah. It's got good parts, but I mean, it's just not even close to the same kind of atmosphere and tone.
Yeah. Let's get into...
Oh, we got a musical.
Let's get into the most successful musical of all time. And this was also one of the biggest shocks while investigating summer box offices. Grease, the musical, which came out in 1973, earned $366 million, and when you adjust that for inflation for $2025, Grease earned $1.6 billion. Absolutely absurd. The most surprising movie that I found on this list. It's insane how successful this movie was, and now I realize why everyone loved Travolta, and it's just a huge hit. It's a huge hit. $1.6 billion. Grease. What? That's insane.
That's a lot of ladies turning out to see John Travolta.
That's insane. Oh, my God.
John Travolta energy, man.
Danny Zuko.
The Lion King next, the reboot from 2019, live action, but not live action animated film. $1.6 billion at the box office. Huge hit. Adjusted for inflation, it's a little higher. But, yeah, obviously the remake.
I didn't feel like doing the math for that.
I don't blame you. It's like 1.8.
Yeah,
right?
something like
Something like that. So, very successful film for a remake, which is one of the reasons why every Disney property is getting remade nowadays.
Yeah,
this is the Lion King success.
This was the big one. Because they were always doing the princesses, but they never were made that much. But then once Lion King hit huge, they were like, do everything! Everything! Live action! We have Lilo and Stitch in a month. Still doing it. All right, next up. Snow White, Lilo and Stitch in the same year. Next up. Finding Nemo took the world by storm in 2003. How old do you feel, James?
I already said I feel like an old man.
2003.
Oh, my God.
$941 million, Pixar's biggest hit at the time. When you adjust for inflation, Finding Nemo earned $1.5 billion. Huge numbers. Absolutely astronomical. Beautiful story. It's so well done. And it's just one of the best animated films ever.
I think it's still a top 5 Pixar movie, hands down. It's that special. I think it's still one of the best stories. Mm-hmm. Those early Pixar films, the stories were remarkable.
Yeah.
So unique, so well thought out, so well written. Man, I love Finding Nemo.
Great stuff.
We have a release from 2023 here. Barbie. $1.4 billion at its global box office haul when it came out.
Well done.
Massive hit. Cultural phenomenon. This and Oppenheimer paired up for something we never seen before, where two movies organically had a marketing campaign fueled by fans and audience members. Nothing to do with studios, nothing to do with marketing teams. This was a fan-created marketing team, and people became obsessed. It was a fever. People were dressing up to go to the theaters, wearing pink, wearing suits. It was absurd. What a time. I'll never forget it. It was such a fun experience. Barbenheimer will live on forever.
It is the event. of the year.
Yeah, and Oppenheimer almost made $1 billion, which is insane. It almost made $1 billion.
Yeah. It got close.
Christopher Nolan, baby.
Next up, Spielberg and Lucas are back. I bet you were wondering if you're going to hear about one of these movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark, in 1981, debuted the franchise with $390 million, and when you adjust that for inflation, $1.37 billion. Indiana Jones became a huge cultural sensation thanks to still the most successful in the franchise, the first one, the original, the OG.
You know what's crazy?
What?
The next movie on our list.
Yes, this is also an unbelievable one.
A Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, Whoopi Goldberg film is next on our list
You'd have thunk it.
Biggest summer blockbusters of all time from 1990. Ghost. This movie made $500 million at the box office. Adjusted for inflation, Ghost made $1.2 billion.
This is insane.
$1.2 billion adjusted for inflation for Ghost.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Everybody saw this movie. I didn't realize how big of a hit this movie was.
Me neither.
I had no
That's
idea.
insane to me.
$500 million in 1990.
Get hell.
1.2 billion. That's unbelievable.
Crazy. All right, we only have 3 left.
Now we have the only Best Picture winner on this list.
Well, yeah, look at that.
I teased it early in the episode that there was going to be a Sylvester Stallone movie on this list. It's also the only Best Picture winner.
There could be, like, Jaws could have been a Best Picture winner for sure.
But it's not.
I know.
It's not.
I'm just saying there are other movies that maybe should have been.
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. But there's only one Best Picture winner on this list. Rocky, 1976, made $225 million and adjusted for inflation, that's $1.2 billion. If Rocky came out right now, it made $1.2 billion. That's how much. That's just put that into perspective. A Rocky movie. The first one still is by far the most successful. The franchise has always performed very well, even leading into the Creed franchise. They always do well. But man, Rocky, the original, $1.2 billion, and also taking home the trophy for Best Picture. What a fucking year! What a year!
Fucking
no other Best Picture winner has ever made even close to that much money.
Talk about a life-changing film. One movie, Sylvester Stallone became the biggest name in Hollywood probably. And what a hit. Let's check out the other Rocky films. So
yeah,
that box office was huge. Rocky 2 in 1979, 3 years later, pulled $200 million at the box office, which adjusted for inflation is also massive, pretty close to $1 billion, if not $1 billion.
Wow.
Rocky 3 in 1982 made $270 million at the box office.
Amazing.
Rocky 4, $300 million at the global box office in 1985.
Woo, that's like $800 million.
Rocky 5 in 1990, $119 million at the box office. Rocky Balboa in 2006. The franchise is starting to waver a little bit, $155 million at the box office. And then the Creed movies have also been very successful. Not as successful as the Rocky movies, but I mean, the last one, Creed 3, pulled $274 million at the box office, which is really good.
They do
really
well.
Good numbers.
They do very well.
But man, those first 2 Rocky movies.
You don't realize how successful they were until you look at the actual numbers.
Fucking hell.
Like the first 3 movies, if you put them all together, it's almost a $3 billion trilogy.
What's wild is Rocky only had a $5 million opening weekend.
Wow.
But still goes on to gross $225 million.
Everybody saw it.
Over and over again in theaters for such a long time.
I think that
highest grossing film of 1976 as well.
I would argue that Rocky is the ultimate crowd pleaser movie.
I think so.
I think it's the greatest crowd pleaser that has ever been made.
It's an incredible film. I always forget how much I love it because we grew up watching it so much. But it's sort of like fallen out of my rotation the last 10 years. But then when I think about it, I'm like, man, Rocky's like one of my all-time favorites.
Watch it soon.
Yeah, I should.
Throw it on. We got the box set right here.
Oh, yeah, we do have the box set. Are those 4Ks?
No, these
DVDs.
Fuck. I just
picked up the box set. His whole set fell apart.
Ruined my set. This is the DVD special collector's edition, though. It really is an unbelievable film. I watched it fairly recently, and I was like, man, it just still holds up.
Yeah, it's the ultimate underdog story.
And I like how all the 4 films put together create this image of Rocky.
Oh, that's cool. The edges, the jackets. That's cool.
Yeah. Great fucking shit. They're all good. Except for, Rocky 5 is the weakest, but like Rocky 4 is good.
Yeah.
Rocky 2 is amazing.
Rocky 4 is iconic.
Yeah.
I always liked Rocky 4 more than Rocky 3.
They're re-releasing it in theaters for its anniversary.
Oh my god.
40th anniversary.
We've never really covered Rocky before.
We did early days.
Well, we did a best boxing movie. We never did like a solo
we should
episode.
do the Rocky franchise.
We should do Rocky.
Yeah.
Or at least the first movie or the first two.
Yeah, we should do Rocky.
All right, we got 2 more left. Let's talk about the first DVD that Anthony and I ever owned as kids. This was a birthday present from our dad. 1997's Men in Black. We were obsessed with this movie.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Huge hit at the box office. Will Smith was on top of the world. I mean, this Independence Day, back-to-back years, biggest star in Hollywood. $589 million at the box office, adjusted for inflation today. That's $1.17 billion.
Wow.
What a back-to-back combo this guy had.
Great film, too. This was just a great, anybody of any age can see it and enjoy the film. It's good comedy, good sci-fi, great action. Love the characters. Overall, a very good, scary villain. So many things in the film worked, and it seems like when you look at it, like this movie looks insane. Like, how could this ever work? But it did. It was kind of a special movie if you think about it.
Really, yeah. It was really fun. And then Will Smith could have done anything in the world that he wanted to do, and he did Wild Wild West after this.
Wild West.
Instead of the Matrix.
Great Burger King meal, though.
Oh, yeah.
Rodeo cheeseburgers.
Actually, the rodeo cheeseburger was made for
Toy soldiers.
Right. Common misconception. But it
They
was
had
re-released.
toys. They had toys. They
They released it for Wild West. They
Gotcha,
you
yeah.
get the rodeo cheeseburger,
Yeah.
but the rodeo cheeseburger, if you're unaware, in America, very exciting campaign with movies they used to pair with burgers, but it was a cheeseburger with barbecue sauce and an onion ring. You can still get it,
So it's like 99 cents.
and it's just
Well, maybe not anymore.
not like it used to be. It's pretty sad these days when you get it. But
Yeah, I don't eat fast food anymore.
yeah, it's a
I
sad
don't do it.
experience. I got it once, and I was like, wow.
I got
We
a Big Mac once.
We
and
have
it was-
fallen.
Yeah.
We have fallen as a culture.
I got a Big Mac once and I couldn't see the patties. It was just all bread. I was like, the patties were so much smaller than the bread. I was like, what the fuck is this? This isn't the commercial. Anyways, we have to finish this list. There's one more on this movie on this list.
And it ties into recently Universal did a fan fest night where they had this movie was featured with like all kinds of props because they filmed it at this studio at Universal Studios, and you can do it on the tour. But they had like a fun fan night where people dressed up and they had like
cool.
characters around
That's awesome.
for this.
For Back to the Future. In 1985, Back to the Future, one of the greatest films ever made in American history. It is. It's perfect. Grossed $385 million at the box office, translating to, with adjusting for inflation, $1.14 billion. Massive hit. Huge movie. Everybody loves Back to the Future. If someone doesn't like Back to the Future,
Then fight them.
Tell them to go fuck themselves. That they're a fucking idiot. Because they are. No, it's just an amazing movie. It's great. There's a reason why the franchise is so beloved, and they made three. They made 3 in total. I still think that Back to the Future, the original, is in a league of its own. Still, I think it's really one of the great films in the genre of science fiction. Probably it's the best science fiction time travel movie. Probably this or Terminator 1.
I think Terminator and Terminator 2 are better.
I might have to go.
But the thing with those is we're not really traveling through time. Just a couple characters do it in the opening of the movie. So they're time travel movies, but they're not. The whole plot's taking place with the main characters.
And those movies take place in our time, whereas Back to the Future, you're in a different time.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's just superior, because it's like really fish out of water in a different time. And also, it's just an amazing movie. It's just amazing. It's the best. Zemeckis' unbelievable filmmaking, and it's just great. It's fucking, you all know Back to the Future is the fucking best,
If you meet someone who doesn't like it, tell them to go fuck themselves.
Oh my god.
Did
Did I take that too far?
Maybe a little bit. maybe a little bit. But yeah, I would say time travel movies, Back to the Future, Terminator 2, 12 Monkeys. Let me look up some others.
The great ones?
Donnie Darko, Looper.
Is that time travel or dimension travel?
Oh, he travels in time at the end of the movie.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, he goes back to the past.
Yeah, he goes back 28 days previously.
Right.
Looper's great.
Yeah, but none of them are Back to the
About
Future.
Time.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, there actually aren't that many bangers that are time travel.
It's hard to pull off because it's a hokey thing.
Yeah, and I mean, Tenet isn't exactly what I would consider as time travel, because
It's actually time inversion, which is not exactly time travel. So technically, Tenet's not about time travel. It's about inversion.
Exactly. Thanks. You took the words out of my mouth. Wow, that was a really good impression too.
It was actually me talking, guys. It wasn't.
That was
James.
actually at the Man, of all these movies outside of Star Wars, which of these movies, which you've probably never seen in theaters, most of them, would you like to experience in a theater for the first time?
Wow, what a question. I would like to see. Let me just scroll through this list real quick.
Fortunately, we've already seen E.T. in the IMAX re-release in theaters.
I would say, actually, now that I look at this list, I would like to see Empire Strikes Back in theaters. I've never seen it in theaters.
But if you had to pick like not a Star Wars one,
No, oh, you said not Star Wars,
Yeah.
right?
because obviously I would pick a Star Wars movie.
I've seen Jaws in theaters. I've seen E.T. in theaters. So
Same.
I would say if I was gonna pick something, fuck it, I'd see Rocky in theaters. No, I'd see Back to the Future in theaters. Yeah, Back to the Future is my
It's a
pick.
good pick. I would go Raiders of the Lost Ark
Oh, good one.
because I don't think I've ever seen that in a theater before.
Good one. I saw it in theaters with the live orchestra.
Cool, man.
Whoa. Just adding to, I'm just saying, I saw it. Sounds like someone's jealous.
Really happy for you. You
It was
guys
awesome.
experienced that.
It was awesome. It was great.
I'm seeing Jurassic Park in theaters soon
Whoa.
with a live orchestra.
Good for you. Wow. I'm seeing Jurassic Park in theaters.
That's actually Anthony talking, guys, not me. I know it sounds like me. All right, this is a kooky episode.
Hope you guys are having a great summer, and there's a ton of movies this month, and hopefully you have time to fit them into your schedule, but it's been a great year.
Yeah, it's been an awesome year. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Raiders of the Lost Podcast. As always, become a patron today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, leave those likes and comments, leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. You guys know how to do all the things that help us out. In addition to all that, following us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, sharing, commenting, liking. Thanks so much, everyone.
See you next time.